Howdy folks, we have a beautiful spring day here in Southern Ohio. What I'm going to try to execute on is what I tried yesterday. I only fished for 2 hours yesterday, and my whole goal was to catch fish two ways. One, pick a bait from my MTB Pro box, the March box, and get to flipping with it. I was flipping this, the Baby Madpaca. I caught a couple fish on that. Let me play that now. There's a good one. Well, that's a big one for this lake. Woohoo! That right there is a Houston Woods, Ohio slaunch. Got a beautiful top fin going on there. Another one. God, that was a violent fight just because of how much he was skiing on the surface. See, that's a little more indicative of a Houston Woods bass, just missing holes from being caught, but I can't really talk because I'm doing the same thing right now. So that was good. I caught some fish on that, but the main goal, I know a lot of you are aware that my buddy Jack makes a bunch of homemade lures. He's got a lot of stuff in here, like he's got a bunch of square bill crankbait, stuff like that. He's got some topwater lures, topwater rat, like a Zara spook type bait. We have Pad Crasher, obviously did not make that. But if any of you have made your own lures before, you know crankbaits, like square bill crankbaits, they're very difficult to be able to run straight. Like, it's very difficult. He hand carves them out of wood. Like, he makes them from top to bottom, and then he just puts hooks on. And this is the new bait he made. It's a little square bill crankbait. This started as a piece of wood, and now is this crankbait. And he did tell me that it runs straight. I fished all day yesterday, pretty much. Well, all day for being like maybe an hour, because I did spend a lot of the day with the soft plastic because there was no wind, and it runs true. I caught a crappie on it, like a big 12-inch crappie, caught a small bass, and then lost like a nice 2 to 3 pound bass on it. So that's my goal for today, is to catch a fish, hopefully many fish, on Jack's homemade square bill crankbait. Not sure if I stated this from before, but we are at Houston Woods, Acton Lake. And this is a very highly pressured lake. It has a decent amount of bass in it, but it just gets hammered with pressure. Like, it's a Wednesday morning, and the lot was full. But the reason I picked it is there's trash and laydowns everywhere. Not trash, but like leaves, stuff like that. It's a very good square bill crankbait lake, so I'm hoping there's gonna be some bass moving up with this sun, because we don't have a lot of wind again today. It's sunny. These water temps are gonna skyrocket, so these fish might get really hungry. So the whole deal, and the reason why people, oh no. God, I gotta be more careful. I just hit the crankbait on the trolling motor. It's still good, right? Oh yeah, she's tough. The reason people like making their homemade lure, stuff like that, is it gives the fish a different look, especially on pressured waters. It's got a way different action than any crankbait you can go out in the store and anyone can buy. Now this specific one, you put lead in it so you can cast. He's got a little ball of lead right there. It does sink, I'd say maybe a quarter to a half a foot a second. And it's got an extremely wide wobble. So far it deflects off cover pretty well. That's what I've gained from it. And I know it catches fish because I caught fish on it yesterday. So now I basically just got to land him. He's got KVD triple grip mustad hooks on here, so I know the hooks are sticky sharp. So when something bites us today, he's gonna get hooked. There's one. Oh yeah. One on the crank. Finally. Am I gonna get this in the boat? Oh yeah, I am. He choked it. All right. Mission accomplished. He's not a giant, but this is a very average sized bass for this lake. I will take it. Right off that little laydown right there. Oh, little fishy. Jack is going to be so happy you decided to eat this lure. Look at him. Homemade works. Awesome. I was only fishing for about 20 minutes too. Mission accomplished. There's one. Oh yeah. He gave me a nice little jump. Can't remember the last time I seen a bass jump around here. He's got some energy with these water temps. Another nice cookie cutter acting bass. Crushed. That homemade little crankbait. Wow, he's gonna be stoked. He said it might be a challenge to catch one on it. Not today. Whew. Oh, I am so stoked. We got 2 in the first half hour. And this is really the only lake around here that I've kind of never really figured out, because there's not much to figure out. It's a big mud bowl and you fish shoreline cover. I think 2 in the first half hour is about as good as I've ever done out here. As shocking and depressing as that sounds. Because the crankbait's got a nice wobble, but once you fish it fast, it turns up, it goes left and right. So obviously it's not a fine-tuned factory-built crankbait that's gonna run true almost every time out of the box. It side swims almost like a wake bait. It's a very interesting bait, but these fish like it. I wish I could take this homemade crankbait to places like Texas, somewhere in the South where big bass are readily available. Out here in Southern Ohio, I got about 3 lakes within an hour of me that I can even launch a boat on, really. And they're all completely different lakes. And unfortunately, this is really the only one that sets up for a square bill crankbait bite to really be a great option. Oh, there's one. It's a dink, but that's number 3. I thought maybe I had hooked a stick because, yeah, he's not putting much effort. He's not putting much power on it, but that counts, right? I think it counts. Counting it. Numero trace. All right, guys, most of these other shorelines are taken up by other anglers. This is not that big of a lake at all. So unfortunately, my gut's telling me, that little voice is telling me that I gotta put the crankbait down, put the boat back on the trailer, and trailer it on over to another lake, because I need to check out that jerkbait bite on that other lake. The jerkbait is hands down my favorite way to catch fish, especially in the early springtime. You get one of these warm days where fish get up and they start eating. Oh, it can get nasty in a hurry. So I'm gonna go idle on over to the ramp and get on over to that lake. But before I do that, I do want to ask you guys, Jack's made all these beautiful baits. I've done a video with this, caught fish on this rat. He's got this little swim bait in here, like a baby bass swim bait. Here, I'll put it in the light so you guys can see. Got like a baby bass swim bait in there. Done a video on this top water. But he's got all these square bills and stuff like that. He makes it all at his house. And he's brought up the idea to me, and I want to pitch it to you guys. Do you want to see how Jack makes all these lures? He makes topwater lures, like little rat lures. He can make swim baits, square bill crankbaits. He was saying that it'd be a really interesting video to show the process of making these homemade lures. So if you guys want to do that and want to know how you can make baits like this, anything in here, then let me know and I'll be sure to make the video with Jack. It's going to be mainly him explaining it. He's made all these lures. Those are his initials on them. His initials, so it'd be him explaining it. But let me know if you guys want to see that. As for me, I'm going to trailer on over to the other ramp, and I'm either going to continue this video or it's going to be a whole new video, because if the conditions are right, then I'm just going to be able to catch a mess of fish on jerkbaits, and that's a whole nother video. So if this ends the video, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to eat this Cliff Bar, get the boat on the ramp. You get to that other lake, if there's more, then that means I probably caught more fish on that square bill at the new lake. Alrighty folks, let me catch you guys up on exactly what happened. Put the crankbait away, tied a jerkbait on, went to the other lake as I said I was going to, and that lake was freaking awful. I didn't get a bite there in 2 hours. So I'm at the north end of Brookville. Have never fished up here before, but I know it's waters that's a lot better for a square bill crankbait. And we're gonna continue on what the original goal was. Made that spiel about following my gut, and it was wrong. So we're gonna try to rebound, and I'm gonna keep trying to catch fish on this homemade crankbait. There's one. It's a good start. Already got a fish. It's not big, but it's a fish. Little small jaw swiped at it. Again, these are little fish. You guys have to realize the bodies of water I'm fishing. Yeah. That's the ramp. I've already caught one. I've never fished this area of the lake before, so it's fun to do a little bit of recon. There's one. There's a good one. That's a good one. That is a good fish. Oh, it came off. Oh, how? I'm actually heartbroken about that fish. Oh my God. That was a really, really heavy fish. Come right off this laydown, he went jutting out. That is extra heartbreaking. That was a heavy, heavy fish. He bit it and just went barreling over and was sprinting at me. I caught up to him and he just pulled off. I love catching big 3, 4, 5 pound bass, but to catch one on my buddy Jack's homemade crankbait would just make it that much more special. That's why that loss burned so much. Gosh, dang, that was a good fish. It's okay, we'll get another. They're here and they're biting, right? We'll get another. That's a nice, oh, that is a big old crappie. I can't tell if the crappie love this lure or if I'm just catching big crappies because I'm fishing around wood and they're almost about to spawn. God. Just out of curiosity, I want to see how long this guy is. He might even be 13 inches. Yeah, no, not quite. It's a 12-inch white crappie. Nice fish, though. Wow. I almost feel bad. Little 1 to 2 year old smallmouth going for a meal bigger than his entire torso. His entire body, whatever you want to call it. There's one. There's a good one. There's at least one that's going to be decent sized. Maybe not. He hit it like he was. It is Dink City. Again, I wish I was on better bodies of water to really show you that this homemade crankbait catches them really well. We got a special guest joining us today. The Michelangelo of crankbaits. Now Jack's gonna come join us for an hour and we're just gonna fish a little bit more, and then after sunset we're gonna be spying on some spawning walleyes, so that should be interesting. And Jack's gonna explain how he makes these lures. So how do you make these?
Pretty much out of any wood, like pine is good.
Pine's good. Is this pine or cedar?
That one's pine.
This one's pine. So you take a block of pine.
If you have like a miter saw or a saw, you can cut it into like a block so you don't have to shave as much off. When I first started, I literally just got like extra ends of lumber that like Lowe's or Menards would cut. I would just grab those blocks. Yeah, so once you have the block, like the general shape cut out, whether it be just a block of wood or kind of the profile of the bait with a bandsaw, you take like a whittling knife. I got mine for like $5 at a Hobby Lobby, I think.
Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, and you can replace the blades out of it. So if you're taking off a lot of material, you use like the big straight one. Or if you're getting a little more smooth and taking off smaller portions, you can use like a small curved one. And so once you got to what it looks like, and then I take the...
How rude.
I was trying to explain my process here.
Hold on, just wait a second.
You got Bubba going down the river.
All right, please continue. So you got your block.
You got your block and your basic shape cut out, and then once you use your knife and different blades and stuff to get it in the shape, you sand it down with a little bit of sandpaper. And I usually do like a heavier grit at first and then really fine grit at the end. And after that, I drill my holes for weights and stuff like that, and I still don't have it down. Some baits just don't work well, but you kind of learn where to put them, like one right in front of the front hook and then one right behind the back of the hook. If you want it to float more, you obviously don't put as much weight in it. And then you make a slit for the bill, pre-drill the holes for the screw eyes. And I put like epoxy in the hole and then put epoxy on the threads and thread them into the holes. And after that, you prime it, wait for the primer to dry, and then you paint them. You can paint them by hand or with an airbrush. I'm still learning the airbrush.
So you painted these by hand?
I did like the green and orange and yellow with a airbrush. Really poor job.
Honestly, I think it looks pristine.
I
Fish
just
today have liked it.
brush the black on with like a small pin brush.
And then you're in,
Then you clear coat it.
and then you put on 2 small triple grips.
Yeah, you should change those out right now before.
Yeah, that's my diagnosis, or our collective diagnosis on this bait, because Jack really hadn't fished it before, is that the reason I've lost the 2 or 3 bigger quality fish that I've hooked on this bait are that the treble hooks are just a little too small.
I'll take 2 minutes.